Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Daily BizLink. Stacie Mallen is back, and today we're talking about work environments and how making it personal can be a competitive advantage. So, Stacie, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I've had this conversation a lot. That's why every time I come to talk to you, Lindsay, it's like, what have we been talking about this week? And a lot of conversations around some people going back, some people remaining hybrid, some people being totally remote still. And I guess the relevant question for me is, what have we learned, and what have the gifts been that we've learned in the last year? And regardless of what your trajectory is on that continuum, how do you apply the things that we've learned? And so if you're going back to work, if you're going full time back in, and some people are like, yay, I'm out of my house, I'm good, I get to be back with the people. One of the questions that's really relevant is, how do you create greater flexibility and retain that flexibility in order to retain top talent? And then another piece of that, if you're returning to work, what did you learn about clear goals and objectives and meetups and communications that you can roll forward? Because I think we had to get better at some things being remote. So, how do you roll those things forward when you all come back together? It's going to be kind of this automatic assumption that you're all on the same page, but we all know that that's not true. That even if you're right next to each other, there are still silos happening. So, what are the lessons you learned there? I think for people staying in a hybrid model, and for me, that's where we're going to be. And I'm very grateful because tomorrow I'm going in to see my team, and most of the time I'm going to be remote. So I get the best of both worlds. How do you really focus on, shifting those gears? Because I went in yesterday, I don't feel like I got a lot done because I was so busy connecting. And then today I was like, man, I'm like behind. I have to get things done. So I think there's a lot of power in understanding the strengths of both of those things, and how you set up your day, and having in-person meetings when you're in person, but then blocking your calendar on days that you're working from home to really focus in on focused work while you're working from home. Another thing is, if you're remaining remote, or if you're hybrid, well, actually, this kind of spans everything. Um, what is the personal connection that's been created that you can retain? So, I know a lot about your life, and the kiddos in your life, and your dogs and everything else that I wouldn't have known otherwise. And I feel like that is an incredible personal connection to retain. For the women on my team, I have all women on my team that we work together, and I know so much about their lives. And what used to be a picture on a desk of a kiddo, that kiddo's like walking in and sitting down in, in a mom's lap sometimes. And I tell our team, like, don't put up backgrounds when it's just us. Like, externally facing may be different, but it's just us. You don't need to put up a background. Yes, kids are going to walk in the room and dogs are going to bark. So if you're going back, how do you hold on to that cohesion? And if you're staying remote, how do you get better and better at making that an advantage? So I think that accessibility and the lack of boundaries has been a really huge positive.
So, of everything that you shared today, I mean, all really great points and things that can help us with being a little bit more aware as we're moving forward. Do you have a specific tip, tool, or best practice that you would really encourage them to look to implement over the next week?
Yeah, I think regardless of your situation, authentic teams that trust each other. I talk about trust all the time. If you trust each other, you move faster, you get more done, and you get better results. So the question that I think you can ask yourself is, wherever we're going to be, how do we facilitate greater trust? How do we facilitate greater authenticity with ourselves to build that trust? And if we're migrating back into an office, are there some concerns about the trust level changing, or is there more concern if people stay remote? So I think it's just a good lens right now. How do you facilitate greater trust, regardless of where you're going to kind of end up on that continuum? And really, that's about human connection with each other.
Stacie, I appreciate you highlighting this specific topic because I know it's so relevant for so many business leaders and organizations here in the community.
Thank you. Think you guys have a great Tuesday.